Okay, so we'll continue with the testing. Okay, we have left with remaining testings. We just completed, and we'll start how to open defects. Okay, let me give few moments. Let people join. Yeah, good morning. Okay, sure. So let's get started. Does anyone have any questions? Yesterday's class, did anyone had any questions? Because I finished it a little earlier because I had one more meeting. So, if you have any questions? Let me know. So, let's start. Acceptance testing. So this is acceptance testing, right? So this is a little bit high level, okay? The more specific to this UAT, this is called something called UAT, user acceptance testing, okay? So what happens in this UAT is like separate team, okay? So this UAT, manual testing, regression testing, all this will be a different teams, okay? If it is in a big, big corporation, a big company, right? Okay, so all this will be a different, different team. So UAT will also be a different team. Okay, so what happens in this, right? In this, okay. So you want to see if all the customer specified requirements. Sometimes customer gives some requirements. Okay, if that is approved, once it's approved by the business, then they will do, they will put some modules. They'll add extra modules in an application, and then they'll, give do testing. So that kind of testing is called acceptance testing. Okay. So it's normally to verify the system meets the customer specified requirements. Okay, whatever the requirements is actually from the customer. So normally customers, request some issues actually. Okay, so with that issues, they'll, they might come up with a new module or new patch, and they will append that patch into particular application. Okay, then they will say it is accepted or not. So that's called acceptance testing. Okay. So let's go to the next one. So before load testing, right, we'll just go here. Performance testing. So this performance testing is divided into two types. One is load testing and stress testing. Okay. Performance is, it's classified into two types: load testing and stress testing. So here, so before going to that, let's have some background. Like, why do we actually need this performance, and what? Or this is actually non-functional testing. This is also called as non-functional because here you're not actually testing any functionality of an application. Okay, in performance, you're actually looking at the performance of the system, not the functionality. So that's why it's sometimes called as non-functional testing. Okay, so let's have some background on this. So what happens, right? Let's say. Let's take an application, okay? So let's say if I have Amazon.com. Let's say I'm going to the Amazon.com, and I'm not just, I'm just using this URL. Okay, I'm just using this URL. I'm not even clicking any buttons here. Okay, I'm not clicking any buttons, and okay, and I'm just using this URL. This is a URL, Universal Resource Locator. Okay, I'm just taking this one and copy and pasting here and hitting enter. That's it. That's what I'm doing. Okay. So I said these guys, Amazon.com has one server. Okay, they bought one server. Okay, and you know, right? This is all over the world, not just not just a specific country or like specific, right? This URL is being accessed by all over the world. Okay, it's Amazon.com means it's all over the world. And okay, so let's say Amazon guys have bought server and they just want to use it. So now what happens? Customers, let's say the server capability is like 50 users. Okay. Okay. The server capability is 50 users. That means at any given point of time, the server only accepts 50 users. Okay. Now, so here we are not just doing, we are actually, just trying to access this URL. We are not even clicking this button. So let's say, what happens? So let me ask you this: what happens when the user exceeds more than 50 users? The capability of the server is 50, okay, and let's say there are like 100 people logging into the same time. It's just not even logging; it's just accessing this URL. Can anyone say what happens?
System slows down.
Okay, system slows down. Anything else? Okay, so yeah. So what happens? Like application gets crashed, or mostly you will not be able to access this application. Why? The reason because whenever the server says like the maximum capability is some amount like 50 users, okay, it cannot access more than that, because whenever you're trying to use this, right, it takes some resources at the back end. Right? It resources in sense it utilizes CPU, it utilizes RAM. So you understand server, right? Server is also it's kind of computer, right? But it's a different way of doing, because it's kind of it's used for only internet purposes, so that's why it's called as server. Okay, so now at the back end, a lot of things happen. Okay, whenever you're trying to use this URL, that it accesses memory from it, it uses the CPU, the processor runs fast. How many users are using it? The amount of processing gets speed up, and so all these things happen at the back end. A lot of memory being used, CPU memory, RAM, a lot of things. So so what happens, right? So it cannot process that many users. Okay, 50 users, I mean, that's good, 50 users, but it cannot process. Now, customer is not able to access this application, and it becomes crashed, or the server, at the worst case, server gets blown up, because obviously, right, it cannot process that many users, and it gets more load to the server. Okay, so that's what it happens. Now, let's say what happens, right? Let's say Amazon bought one more server. Okay, there was one server, now the two servers. Now what they do is like there is something called load balance. Okay, there's the software. You can say it is software, and also software, and it can be also hardware. Okay, and it can be hardware or software. And once they install that, once they put that, now you can access like 100 people now. Okay, now let's say 100 people are, but thing is that one server is accept only 50. So what this load balancer does is, if there are more than 50 on that particular server, it takes that load, the remaining amount, and put into another server. Okay.
Excuse me, sir. Hello.
Yeah.
Sorry to disturb you, sir. Can you go a little bit slowly, sir? I think it's too fast.
Yeah. Sure.
It's very hard to understand what you're trying to say. Can you go a little bit slow and steadily so that it makes sense?
Sure.
It's too fast to understand what you're trying to say.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Thank you.
So that's what it happens, right? That load, it takes the load from that particular server and puts into the another server. Okay, so now if even 100 users are logging in it, it's not an issue because the load balancer takes care of it. Okay, whatever the users which are additional users takes that users into the different server and puts. So that's how you maintain various servers. Okay, that's the reason you need a lot of servers. Okay. So now that thing is different, that every they have their own server in the different countries. They use it in that country if you're using. So even if I'm accessing this Amazon.com, I may be accessing only this particular country which is there in it. Okay, so that is a different thing altogether. Okay, so that's that's some backend information about this performance. So now this performance, so here what we are seeing, that how the application is performing. Okay, this is what we'll be seeing in performance testing, right? At any given point of time, if you put in load, okay, if you put in load on this server, how the application is performing, we want to see that. So that's called performance testing. Okay, it's to test the performance of an application, such as load and stress. Okay, so let's go back here, back to load testing. So that's just a little bit introduction on what happens at the back end. Okay. So let's see here what is load testing. So here, testing an application under heavy load, such as testing a website. Okay. Okay. So here is let's take an example, right? Again, let's go back to a previous example. We are just trying to access this URL, right? We are not just doing anything, just trying to use this URL and just clicking enter. But here in this case, not just one or two people, right? Not just one or two people. There are millions of people who will be accessing this URL per day. Okay, not just million. I think the number goes billion because it's all over the country, and so there's a lot of things happen. Okay, so now that's called load. So whenever a user tries to access this URL, okay, so we are not even worried about clicking these buttons for now. Okay, that's way more high. Okay, we are just trying to just use this URL, and that any given point of time, when you're using this URL, that you're putting a load to that server. Once we put the load, the application becomes slow. Okay. So that's the point of load testing. So you need to test the performance of the. So what is this about load testing? So load testing, normally you have a lot of graphs. Okay, there's a lot of graphs such as throughput. Okay, CPU cycle, RAM usage, memory usage. Okay, so all these things combined. If you see this, all this will be plotted automatically. You're not plotting manually something. It gets plotted automatically once it gets into the server. So there's a tool called loader, which all it will be done by that tool. Okay, you're not doing anything manually. So this normally load testing is an automated tool. So here you cannot. So you want, let's say, 1,000 users, right? You want 1,000 users. So that's called virtual users, 1,000 virtual users, because you cannot find people with 1,000 people, right? Who will be doing this 1,000 people? So that's called virtual user. So what this tool does is it automatically creates virtual users. The load generated by 1,000 people, it puts onto the server, and you want to see their graphs, how the graph is moving. Okay, so that's about the load testing. So testing an application under heavy loads. Okay, for example, the web application, as I told you, the example, right? Just we are trying to see this URL and trying to test the load by plotting various graphs like throughput, CPU cycle, RAM usage, okay, etc. Lot of graphs will be there. Okay, so that's load testing. Now let's come to the next, stress testing. We have something called stress testing. So here what we are doing, we are going beyond the load. Here we are just not putting load. Load we have to check, right? It's like only 1,000 users or 10,000 users, that's it, that's load. Now here what you're trying to do is more than that. So 1,000 users is fine, okay, 1,000 users we have tested it. But now what we are trying to, we are putting the additional work such like using this buttons. Now 1,000 people using all these URLs buttons at the same amount of time, that is stress testing. Okay, that is stress because you're giving a lot of not just load is just people, people are stress. You're also performing a lot of functions into that load, so that's called stress testing. Okay, so let's say here, let's take an example like putting large number of storage capacity complex database queries. Okay, so here what does it mean by complex database queries, right? That means, okay, so nobody is writing any query here. See, whenever you're trying to click this button, right? Let's say if I'm clicking some button here, let's say I click this button. So what happens, right? That when I click that button, it queries that particular database on that particular server, and it generates a SQL. Okay, it's automatically generating SQL. Nobody is doing anything. It generates that SQL, and by generating it executes the SQL there and gets the whatever the data which is there in the database and pulls out and puts in the web page. So that's what it happens just by clicking. So you might think, oh, I'm just clicking one button, but really that's really not just one button. It's really generating a SQL actually. The backend, it's generating SQL, it's executing that SQL into that database and getting the result and showing up on the web page. So that's what it happens when you click small button. Okay, so that's what it means by complex database query. Okay, so that's what it means. For you, it might be just a button, but backend is pretty complicated because all the information, right? All these images, all this data is stored, has to be stored somewhere, and it will be stored in the database. So that's how it's happening in the backend. Okay, so that's what it means by stress testing. So a lot of people accessing this web page many times. So you're trying to say this. Now again, the stress testing, how do you measure it? You'll be measuring again through the graphs. Okay, a lot of graphs for this stress testing, similar to the load. Okay, like throughput, CPU usage, RAM usage, and so on. Okay, so you'll be finding out how much stress we have put to that particular server and how it's behaving. Okay, any questions in this performance testing? So this is non-functional testing. Sometimes it's called non-functional testing, and it is a different team. Okay, as a manual tester, you may not always involve in performance testing. Why? Because this requires a different skill, because you'll be using a different tool and a different the different way of doing this. And of course, there might be test cases for performance testing, no doubt. There will be test cases. You can have test cases for performance, functional testing, and UAT too. User acceptance testing might be different team, and they might have their own test cases. Okay, so yeah, this is pretty much a different topic altogether. But again, it's a part of the testing process. Any questions? Okay, no questions. Let's move to the next one. Now, there's one more called usability testing. Okay, I want to see what's usability testing. So this is simple user friendliness check. Okay. Now, let's take an example here, right? User friendliness. So now, how did I know what is user friendly or not? Okay, let's see here. When I log into the Amazon.com, let's say this is Amazon.com. Now, as a customer, I want to sign in, right? Because I know I'm a customer of Amazon, and I want to sign in. So I want sign in button right in front of my page, right? Okay, good. This is here, so I can sign in. That shows how much user friendly it is. Let's take an example. If the sign in button is somewhere here, or somewhere, just footer of the page, how would I know? I don't know, but and I get frustrated and hey, I want to sign in. I cannot even sign in. Where should I sign? So that shows how much user friendly that web page. So that's called user friendliness. Okay, that's just an example of signing. This don't have to be just only signing. There's a lot of things as a user friendliness. Are you getting what is required on the web page? Is the web page has all the sufficient information on that? So all this comes under user friendly. Okay, that's usability testing. Okay, if you remove the sign in and put it somewhere here, nobody knows, right? How would I know? Because it should be right, right in front of my page, so that if I have to log in, I have to log in right from here, right? That is called usability testing. Okay, because you want to see that any new user, say not everyone will be new, right? If everyone knows about the web application, then it's not a big deal. They know each and everything that they'll be doing daily, so it's easy. But for a new people to understand the application should be easy, right? So that's the reason you want usability testing. So here you see this navigation is checked in this testing. How the navigation is all the button is appropriate, is what customers requires, and all the thing is there in front of the page, or it has to be added separately. All this will be done in the usability testing. Okay, so let's go to the next one. This is called install and uninstall testing. Okay, so this is again more related to client application, because install and install will be doing for client application, not web application. So far, this is web application, right? Because we are accessing to browser. But client application is installed in the system. Okay, so whenever you're trying to install something, because you're running some software in your system, right? Not just in web application. So that's the reason you need this install, and it's more related to client applications. So what happens in this install and install, right? A lot of things happen. Registry keys gets updated, data files gets updated, DLL files, gets updated. Lot of things happen. Okay, so here you want to see that install and uninstall is done properly or not, as per the requirement. Again, it's as per the requirement. So what does the requirement says, and what is to be done. So that's about install and uninstall testing. Let's go to the next one. Any questions so far? So we have next is recovery testing. Okay, recovery testing is like testing. So let's say your application gets crashed. Okay, how soon it recovers from the crash is called recovery. To test that, it's called recovery testing. Okay, it might get crashed with so many reasons. Okay, hardware failures or system issues, or the server is slow. All those things. Okay, so you want to do as a recovery testing. So let's go to the next one, security testing. So here, what's the security testing? So let's take an example. Okay, here, let's say here, let's say I'm going to google.com, right? Now when I see here, this is like HTTPS, right? You see this HTTPS, there's not HTTP. Okay, so what does it mean? So this is hypertext transfer protocol. If it is HTTP, then it's hypertext transfer protocol. S means secure. Okay, no, you can't just put S and say like it's HTTPS. No, it doesn't work that way. It's HTTPS in sense you have that certificate installed in the system, and what does it actually do? So whenever you're trying to do also purchasing something online or something, you want to make sure whatever you're doing online, it has to be get encrypted, and it can be only decrypted at the that server. Because if you're doing something online, there are thousands of people, a lot of people who are trying to take your information, the credit card, SSN, and so on. So that's what you want to make sure it's always HTTPS, not HTTP. Okay. Hypertext transfer protocol secure. Okay. So that helps. So again, it's an algorithm. It's an algorithm which actually helps to encrypt your data, whatever you're trying to do online, and can only be decrypted at the end server where you are making the transaction. So what happens, even if the hacker or someone takes your information, it's useless. It's completely useless because you don't know how the algorithm is, how it is designed, and what the encryption is. They don't know. There will be some characters with ABCD or 1 to 3, and it doesn't make any sense. Okay, so because it's encrypted, okay, everything is encrypted in the format. So now that kind of testing, when you test that, that's called security testing. Okay, so we want to see that can system be penetrated by any hacking way? How well the system protects under unauthorized access is called security testing. Okay, just an example I've given for HTTPS. You want to make sure it is secure, so you'll be doing security testing. So previously it was HTTP, Google has HTTP now. I think they have removed this HTTP because they know it should be secure, right? No one has to get the information what you're trying to do online, right? So now no more HTTP from Google. It's all is HTTPS. Okay, so that's an example for security testing. Let's go to the next. We'll just make it pretty quick here. So compatibility testing. So what is compatible? So compatibility, right? Compatibility. Is it compatible with the operating system? Is it compatible with this particular software? Is it compatible with are you using which OS? Is it Unix? Is it Windows? It's a Linux and so on. So that kind of testing, is it compatible with that particular operating system? Okay, hardware or software, then it's called compatibility testing. Okay. And then it's called comparison testing. So you want to compare. Okay, you want to compare between the strength and weakness with the previous versions. It's called comparison testing. Okay, and then it's have this alpha testing. So what happens in this alpha testing, right? It's once the developer finish he's done with this coding, then he does testing. He starts some testing. Now he does all as a business perspective, not as a customer user point of view. Okay, so now in that case you call as alpha testing. Okay, it's normally not just developer, anyone can do in the team, okay, who is responsible for this project, like business analyst, project manager, testers, okay, manager or developer, so on. Whoever is responsible with this project can do the alpha testing normally, okay. But yeah, it depends on companies, like how the company's policies are. So based on that, you will be doing alpha testing. So here, virtual user environment can be created for this type of testing. Testing is done at the development, at the end of the development. Once the development is done, you start this alpha testing. Okay, move to the next one. So there's something called beta testing. So now what happens in, let's say we have completed all these testings, right? We have completed all this testing, now what happens right now? Okay, we are good. The company thinks we are good, but still testing should be done. And what they do is they create demo version of that product, and gives to the whole world. They put this on the website and does it. Hey, you know what? Why don't you use this software and start testing? So this whole they give to the whole world. So normally the users or consumers who are responsible, okay, will be doing this beta testing. So that's called beta testing. It's normally the users, the users who will be using it. Once they say, hey, you know what, you use this application. If you find any issues, report it to us so that we'll fix it and release into the new version. Okay, so they will be just giving a demo version. Just so if you find any issues, report that issue to them, and they will be. So that's called beta testing. Okay. Any questions so far in this whole various types of testing? So this test, various types of testing. You may not always use all this testing at once in the project, but yeah, it's good to know because you never know what kind of testing you'll be using it. Because it depends completely on the project and completely on the company, how they are using it, how they are performing. So it's good to know. But technically, you may not always use everything in one project. Okay, you'll be using, sometimes you might be using sanity, sometimes smoke testing or functional testing. Functional testing most of the time you'll be using. As a QA point of view, you'll be using functional testing. So yeah, somebody asked, right, can beta testing be performed by the QA? No, QA only does, the QA does, okay, the QA can do more testings like functional testing, sanity testing, smoke testing, but really they are not, QA is not involved in beta testing. Beta testing is completely done by the other people, not the team of people, not the project owners of, project people. It's completely users, end users, you see, completely end users. Okay, so but yeah, as a QA, you might also do beta testing, but it don't have to be officially. It don't have to be officially. You might say, let's take an example. Let's say if I'm working with big companies like, let's say Blizzard company. Okay, so there's a Blizzard game company, right? Let's say I'm working for them. I'm a tester there. Okay, so I'll be doing the testing, but I'll not be doing beta testing. But personally, I can do beta testing because they bought a new game, and I want to test that using beta testing. So personally, I can do that, but officially, I cannot do beta testing because why? Because it is done by the end users, not by the project people or project owners. Okay. Any more questions? Okay, if no questions, let's move to the topic pretty quick. Next topic. Okay, so what? Let's see here. So we are done with this various types of testing. Let's see how we can use this functional testing in our application. Okay. Now, let's say you went to the project. Okay, you are in the project. Okay, you are in the project, and you know what? Your lead. So you'll be communicating a lot with your lead, and lead said, hey, you know what? Why don't you start testing to this application? So there is an application here. Why don't you start testing this? Now you might get, okay, luckily you might find out which URL it is by just using SharePoint or talking to your colleagues. You were lucky, you just find out this URL. Okay, the lead didn't tell you. So once you figure it out, this URL, now you check with the lead, hey, this is what I found it. Is this that project will I be working? No, yeah, you will be working on this project. Now let's say, now you cannot ask a question like this, okay, what kind of testing I'll be doing? Now that's not a valid question. You cannot ask the lead just like that, okay, what kind of testing I'll be doing? That's really, you'll figure it out. You know nothing. Okay, what you have to ask question here is, are we going to perform all of the testings here? Are we going to perform regression? Are we going to perform performance on this application, so on and so forth? Okay, because you know what you have to do. Most of the time you'll be doing functional testing, of course, but you want to also make sure is there any other testing you'll be performing. So that's the reason you want to make sure you want to ask a question saying that are we going to perform all of this testing here? Okay. So once you have done with that, now you have to start testing. So let's see here. Let me try to see here what I'm trying to do. So let's say I'm clicking this button, enter GMO online. Okay, clicking this button. Okay, good. Now I found that this is a retail company. That's great. Let's try to order this. Just I'm trying to order something. You know, so here it says place an order. You know what? Just let's see here. Let's order here. Good number. Place an order. And once it goes to this next page, okay, so this is the next page, and you see the information here. This is quantity 100, 3 dome tents. Okay, good. I want to place an order. Proceed with that button, and I fill up all this information here. Just use this MX credit card number. I use this credit card number, and 1217. And I'll just place an order here. Okay, so I bought some quantity here, right? This is my receipt, and I bought something, and this is going to ship it here and bill it to this address, and we'll be shipping to this address. Okay, and that's good. Now let's go back to the home page. So let me ask you a question. Did you guys find any bugs here? Anyone? So I just placed an order here. Okay, just placed an order. Did you guys found any bugs? Okay, so let me repeat my question. So we just placed an order, right? We saw everything, right? We saw the place and all the information and just placed an order. So did anyone notice any bug so far? Let me know. If I might, I just placed an order, so I don't know there was a bug, but okay. So we went really fast, right? We went fast, so we don't know if there was any issue. We didn't actually did anything actually. Okay, we didn't even saw anything, so we don't know what's actually the issue is, right? We just went one flow, that's positive flow. We just went one flow, and that's it. That doesn't mean that we have completed with testing. So that's the problem, right? So whenever you do this, in a company, right, if you just do that, let's say people say you have done with the testing. No, we have not done anything actually so far. Okay, let's see. Let's try to figure it out. What kind of testing we are supposed to do here. Now, let's see here. Let's take an example, okay? Now we order that quantity. That's good. Now what I'm trying to do here is, now let's do this. What I'm trying to do is 3, 5, 6. Let's put 5. Okay, so I'm trying to order all this, and I want to place an order. Okay. Question express. Okay, good. Now I'm ordering these many quantities. Okay, this is too many, too big, right? It's too big, and I'm trying to order, and each unit price is $299.99. That comes around this much amount. And when I'm summing up, this is the amount. Okay, can anyone tell what's the issue here? Can anyone figure it out? What's the issue? Anyone? So I'm just trying to place an order here. Quantity orders are more. So we'll talk about this. It doesn't matter, right? I'm doing testing here, so it's more or less is not the point, because I want to, because customer might be, corporate people buy this much amount. If you're running business, people might buy this much amount. So that amount is actually not an issue here. But anyone else found an issue? So we'll talk about that. That's fine. You raised a good question. Quantity orders are more. We will, we'll go to that. Not at this time, but just anything else other than that?
Shipping price is still the same.
I'm sorry, what?
Shipping price, shipping
Shipping.
and handling fees.
Okay. Okay. Good. Okay. Good. So, yeah, that's right. So why? Because if you're getting these many quantities, even if let's say even if they ship it to USPS doesn't charge $5 for these many quantities, right? And you see this, the amount of, you see, this is the big, this is the size it takes. So USPS doesn't ship for $5 for these many quantities, right? So that's an issue. So that's a bug. Now, and they just don't take $5 for these many quantities. Okay, simply the quantity is too big. And I don't think it's just $5 just for one quantity. Even it will take more than that. So that's correct. The shipping is showing wrong. Although you might get free shipping because you're ordering more than $1,000 or something like that. All companies have that option. Some or other, option, like if you're ordering more than $100 or $200, we give free shipping. So shipping and handling is $5. Okay, this is a bug. Either it's not supposed to show it because you're giving customers free when exceeds more than amount, or this this quantity the amount is really wrong. Okay, either one. So you need to check with your lead saying that, hey, you know what, I'm trying to order these many keys, quantity, but shipping and handling is showing as $5. So that's one issue. Okay. Next is sales tax. So you're paying sales tax. Right. So you need to be very careful when doing this. Okay, sales tax, you don't have sales tax for Delaware. So if you are ordering in the state, Delaware, right? Delaware or Texas, okay, anyone in a state doesn't have the sales tax. So this should be 0. Okay, so this should be 0 for particular states. Not all states, of course. Every state has its own sales tax, but some of state doesn't have sales tax. That is very important. So this is we will not just worry about sales tax. So shipping and handling is one bug. Okay. So that's a bug. Now, okay. So before going to that, actually, I'm supposed to explain one more thing. So whenever you are trying to do testing, you need to come up with the 3 scenarios. Okay, 3 scenarios. What are those? Positive scenario, negative scenario, and boundary values. Okay, so far we did positive. How do you know this is positive? Because order quantity should always be in numbers. Okay, not in alphabets or characters. Right? Order quantity should always be in numbers. 1, 2, 3, so on. That's called positive scenario. Now, what is the negative scenario here? Other than numbers, let's say if I put A, so now that's not a number, right? So that's a negative scenario there. Okay. because it's really accepting other than what actually numbers are. That's a negative scenario. What is the boundary values? Boundary values is like we are entering some decimals like 0.001, okay, or 0.01, okay. So that's an example for boundary values. Okay, this theory, this is again, it's more same like negative, but this is called boundary values. Okay, so three major importance: positive scenario, negative scenario, and boundary values you need to test. Okay, so we have tested this positive. There was one bug. Okay, so let me give one more example. Okay, let's use a different browser this time. Okay, not Chrome browser. We'll be using a different browser, Firefox. Because Chrome has, if you are using this, Chrome has some issues. Now I'll just put this here. Let's see how does it work. Okay, so here now so we have done with positive scenario. Let's take an example of negative scenario here. Let's say other than numbers, I'm just putting A. A is not a number. Okay, so this should throw some error, right? Okay, good. It showed some error. Please enter only digits in this field. Okay, good. That's good. And I clicked on place order. Okay. Now when I place this order, oh wow. Now what's happening? Look at this. I'm having the quantity of A, which is to be shipped. Unit price is $2.99. Total price 0. Shipping. And why am I paying for shipping when I don't get a product here, right? Look at this, 0, and quantity is A, and I still can pay this, right? Go here. Let's go into the next page. Oh wow! So now the customer is going to bill for nothing, right? Does it make sense? Now that is called. No, that is a bug. That is a bug. Why? Because that button is still working, so it might be some issue with the button or some issue with the backend process. We don't know until developer figures it out what the issue is. But this is not right. If I'm using this A, it's not supposed to allow to go to this page, right? If it is here, it's supposed to throw an error, and this button should not work, right? Should say something like this. Please order first, or please enter only digits, like this. Please enter only digits in this, but when I'm clicking this, it's going through. So that's another bug. So this is kind of negative scenario testing. You're still having this issue. Does it make sense? Any questions? Now I'll be giving homework on this. Make sure you guys don't do the same. Okay. Now what people do is, okay, now I use this A, right? Now then people will come, okay, we use B. Now this is I don't want such kind of homework. Please be creative because there's a lot of issues here, not just one. I'll find production issue. If you even give me google.com, I'll find at least tens of issues in this google.com. Okay, so make sure when you're doing homework, be creative on finding issues. There are a lot more issues. Okay, but just don't come up with this should be this image should be right side, it should be in left side. No, just don't come up with such kind of things, because we really don't have the requirement document for this. Okay, as such, so just don't come up with things like which is not explainable, because you don't have document for this. Okay, you need to come up with like normal common sense, right? This is common sense. That is, it's just A, and of course this is not a quantity really, but it's still going to this page. Okay, so that is the second issue. Does anyone any questions?
Hi, Manu.
Yes.
Can you please give us one more example of other such mistakes in here.
Okay,
One more example.
okay, good. So I'll give you one more example so you'll have better understanding what you're trying to do. Okay, so let's finish this. Okay, here, let's go. Let's go back here to Chrome. Okay, look at this. I'm just using this again, this button. Okay, enter Gem Online. Okay, close this. Okay, now let's see what is here. What I'm trying to do is order 100 here, right? 100. But before ordering this, I want to see the product. How do I see this product? Let's click 3% Dome tent. Okay, great. Now here is some information about this Dome tent. Okay, this is good. In stock, it's 23, right? What is it? 23. That means you cannot order more than 23. If you order more than 23, then that's a backlog item. Okay, the company doesn't have that item in that warehouse or in that place, right? Now you're not supposed to order more than 23 in that case. Now let's see here what happens. In stock you saw this 23. That means if you put more than 23 number, there should some pop-up window showing up, right? Please order 23 because in stock is only 23. You cannot order more than 23. Let's see here what happens. I'm putting 100. Okay, place an order. Oh wow, it's getting accepted, right? You see this? But what's happening here? We have in stock only 23, but it's staying 100. And now here's the thing: customer is getting billed for all 100 quantity, but customer will be shipped with only 23. There's no more 23. This is clearly shown here, right? This is clearly shown here, 23. That means usually customer doesn't get all the items. If customer doesn't get all the items, then it could be a lot of problem, right? Customer calls the customer care and customer care doesn't answer the phone. They keep calling them, say, hey, you know what? I've got billed with 100. I paid like this much amount, but I just got 23. What's happening? Okay, but customer never saw this. It was only 23, and they placed it 100 because the customer wanted 100, and company didn't care about this bug, what's supposed to do, and they place it. Let's say here, I just place it, and everything is going wrong. And place an order. So here's the thing. So does everyone understand what the bug is here? So I billed for 31,000 here, but I'll be getting only 23 because in stock it's only 23. But I've ordered 100. I didn't check as a customer. Of course, customer, it's the job of customer, right? Why does customer care about you? It's I want to buy this quantity because I'm really interested in buying this, but I never looked at this product because it's really not my job. I thought that company will take care of this thing, and really, that didn't happen. That didn't go very well, and customer got billed for just 100 items and was shipped only for 23. Does it make sense to everyone? So what's the issue here? So you know what it's supposed to have done, like there would have been some pop-up window, just like for example they could have put a pop-up window like this, please enter only quantity till 23, or less than 23. You cannot order more than 23 because it's no stock. But never had that pop-up window, and the page went through that. So that's one more bug. Does it make sense? Any questions for this? So that's how you need to, catch the issues here. Okay. So when doing homework, again, don't come up with, okay, no, here 8, 8 quantity and I'm putting here 200. It's no, don't come up with such kind of homeworks, please, because I already told you that, right? I already told you. So all of this is applicable for all these items, okay? Not just one or two items. So all these items is applicable to everything. So you need to be really more. You need to search more into this, find more bugs. Do you need any more examples? I can give you like tens of examples in this just without document. Okay, I'm not even looking this document. I don't even care. This is green color or blue color or dark green color or this image should be right side or left side. I'm not even bothered about it. That is really cosmetic. And if I have document, of course, I would see that and see even if that is an issue. But I'm really not bothered on such kind of things. What I'm looking here is just I'm using my common sense here, right? I'm just using uh, normal shipping and normal, ordering. That's what I'm looking here. But of course, if you have a chance of, you always must look to the document and see other issues too. This image is right, or image should be in between, or image should be last. Okay, that is a different story. When you have requirement, you can view that. But here we are really not, not looking into that. Here what we are looking is into this, how you are trying to order. Does it make sense to everyone? Any questions? Do you guys need one more example? So I can give you, more examples, but at the end of the day, I want to see homework. I'll be giving you homework, today. Okay. But so you're free to use any browsers. You don't have to stick for Chrome. If you have Mac, use Safari. You also try Chrome in the Mac. Okay, you can also do that. Use Safari, use Chrome, use Firefox, use IE. I'm sure IE might have like tons of bugs, itself bytes of. Okay, IE is really it's a lot of bugs. Or Microsoft Edge. If you have Microsoft Edge, try with Microsoft Edge. I've never tried with that. Okay, and if you have any other browsers, you can use. It's up to you. So and try that too, because every browser might have some issue. Yeah, you can also try Mozilla Firefox. Yeah, that's what here is it, right? You can try in this and see, because there are some issues which are browser specific. Okay, there might be coming for that browser, but doesn't happen to this browser. So that might be a really very good issue to find out. Okay, because sometimes it might happen only. So we don't know really it's happening. Sometimes we can know it's happening to this browser or it's not happening to that browser. But developer will able to tell you because the way they write the code, what kind of code they use and what kind of browser they are using. So developer will be having better idea. Okay, but the point is you don't want to open a defect. Yeah, you can use any of this Internet Explorer, Firefox, Safari, so on, and try to open defects. So this is what you have to do in your project, right? So this is called functional testing. You're actually testing the functionality of an application. So you know what? Let me give one more example if you want, but there are plenty of this. Okay, there's plenty of examples. Okay, now this is a browser specific. Okay, browser specific defect. Okay, now let me use this. I'll just put a different character. Let's say A. And let's see if it works. Okay, now did you get this issue? Now I'm putting this order A, I'm resetting this form. If I click this button, whatever the value in this field is supposed to get, it's supposed to go as 0, but it's saying a please enter. So I'm really not bothered with this, right? So, you see this? No, this doesn't work now anymore. Okay, now this got. Let's use this. Okay. So that's one more bug. Okay, that was browser specific. Let's try this in Firefox. Okay, we know please enter. Now I'll try this reset form. It got reset here. So now this is examples of browser specific. Now that Chrome browser really was acting funny. Whenever I try to put A and okay, this is fine. But when I am trying to reset it, it was not able to reset that, right? So that's a browser specific issue. So you are free to use any browsers, find any kind of issues. There are tons of issues, okay, and it can be browser specific. It can be, anything, or it can be right in front of your face. It might be just in front of you. You're not able to catch it, okay. But still, that's a bug, okay. So, just find those issues. You guys need any more issues? So I'll be sending an email, okay? I'll be sending you an email for your homework, and you have mostly 20 hours, maybe 20 hours. It's due by 10 a.m. by tomorrow. And this is the URL. I'll be sending this URL to, link. So, any questions so far? So this is what you'll be doing testing in your work, right? As a manual, as a QA, okay? As a QA manually, you'll be doing this kind of testing. Yes, I'll be sending email through homework, okay? I'll be also, giving recording. So, and the people who didn't get homework by 4 p.m., okay, you can email me, okay? So I'll be just sending in 1 or 2 hours. So this is how you need to open, right? But see, it's not just, it's not just, I'm just taking an example here. So this is sample application. Okay? This is really not, yes, you need to find a bug in an application. So say similar way what I told you, right? The same application. I've given you example of 3, right? 3 examples. One is passive scenario, which we tested with a lot of numbers. That is, we got an issue of shipping and handling. Somebody pointed out, right? That's good. Next, we found an issue here. What is the issue? Okay. Yeah, the issue was from this order quantity, right? In stock 23, and we're trying to order more than 23. So that's the second issue. And third, but we had a browser issue that was actually, it was in Chrome, it was trying to act funny, but this button was not working. Reset button, okay, in Chrome, but Firefox it was okay. So yes, you need to find it from the same site, from the same application. Go through this web application very carefully. You have a lot of time. You don't have to rush anything. It's not just 1 or 2 hours. You can take some time. Be seated, calm. Understand this application. Okay, and it's not in a hurry. No, I'm not in a hurry. You're not in a hurry. Okay, just take some time, understand this application, and everyone. See, a lot of people, right? Everyone has to be in unique issue. Okay, I'm looking for any unique issues from this web application. Please don't come up this whatever issue I've told you three issues. Just don't come up with such kind of things. Okay, you need to come up with uniquely, you know. So try different browsers. You're not restricted only to Chrome. You're not restricted to Firefox. You're not restricted to Safari. Okay, just a front end. So we are like QA, application. So you don't have to look into the code or you don't have to see anything. Just look at this page and understand what it's supposed to do and what it's trying to do. Okay, it might take some time. Okay, because you need to really understand this application, right? So take your time. Don't is hurry. Okay, you can. So you'll be having good time. 20 hours. Yeah, mostly 20 hours. Um, so you can complete in that. And only one issue. So I'm not asking like 10, 20 issues. No, it's nothing. Just one issue. That's it. One unique. That's very good. Yes, I'll be sending this URL for this website. Okay. Okay. Any more questions? So, whoever trying to reach me, you can call me at my number. But I recommend first to let's see here. My phone number is if you want to reach me. Let's see here. It's 732-333-4781. Okay, you can reach me at that number, or you can send an email at manu@itamerica.com. Okay, so if I'm not available on the phone, make sure to send an email so we can schedule a meeting and we can work on that. So somebody asked the question, right? If unit price field is value, okay, negative value. Yes, that will be obvious. It will be a bug, right? Because you cannot order a negative quantity, right? You are ordering positive quantity, 1, 2, 3, 4. That will be a number. So if it's negative quantity and still accepting it, let's say here, I'm putting this minus 10. So minus, okay, so this is, let's say here, minus 10, right? Okay, please enter. So this is warning. I get good. Now if there's a warning, this button is not supposed to work, but it's still. Okay, so here this is not working. Let's see here. So this is good. Okay, so this browser is pretty good. If I'm putting here, this is stuck. Okay, so let's say if I'm ordering negative quantity and okay, so this page is also not moving. Okay, so that's also one more bug because if I click OK, it should move out, right? And I want to reset this form, so this is not working. So this is a browser specific issue. Okay, let's try it. So you can try different browsers, this same thing. Okay, so if you are able to go through this, so that will be a bug. Okay, as I told you, right? So here unit price, you are not, see unit price, so we are not changing any unit price here. Okay, somebody asked, right? So if there is any unit price here, so we are not changing, so unit price will be the same. We don't know if there is that unit price is correct or not, right, unless we see the requirement document. Since we don't have requirement document, so we cannot worry on that one. Okay, unit price is something which if it shows negative, then of course it should not supposed to show negative. This all should be a positive. Okay, so unit price, you cannot do anything. Okay, it is what it is. Okay, what is shown here is that it is. But of course, if you find any minus here or something like that, of course that will be a part. Any more questions? Okay, if no questions, can we close this class for today? Right, you see this, if any character I'm entering, it's going to the next page. So yeah, that's what you need to be see here and find any issues. Okay. Okay, thank you guys.